What's going on? It is Jason. Yeah. Adi God, that's a mighty good Kupak. Man, I love my Nespresso. It's like my favoriteest thing to do in the morning is to make a cup of Nespresso coffee with the frothy, foamy. It's kind of, I've been getting, damn that thing. I've been getting stuff set up so it is like, the frothiness has kind of went down, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. No frothiness for me right now. But this is like my third cup of coffee. I just got done running, so this, yeah, it feels good having a cup of coffee after a long push. And it was a push. But first, how's everybody doing? What's going on? It has been crazy. I got some stuff to share with you guys, stuff that's on my mind, on my heart. I'm looking forward to diving into these things and sharing them with you. I'm going to shut that mother effer off. That thing, it never goes off. And then as soon as I start talking, it starts beeping. It's so frustrating. All right, let me just chime in the chat. Here we go. How is everybody doing? Welcome in and drop a line if you're feeling fine. Yeah. We'll just pin that bad boy and I'm gonna go shut off the old iPad that keeps beeping at me. So frustrated. I'll just turn this bad boy up. I think I would learn my lesson by now. To turn that thing up. Whoo! Oh, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So what's been going on this past week? Had a lot of fun, had some fun shoots, and then a couple fun edits, got those dialed in. But here's the story. So I'm not gonna name any names, but we were working with a client. It was an awesome project. We've worked with this client before, really dig working with them. They're a good client to work for. Communication is always a thing. And sometimes when people communicate, some of the pieces are left out that are important, especially when you got multiple people involved in a project. So not pointing any blame or blaming anybody, but we showed up on site last Friday, and it was like a 3-day type thing that we were shooting for this client. They are basically a trade partner to the general contractor. The general contractor was hired by a federal company. So this federal company hired the general contractor. So there is multiple layers to this project because of what they're doing, what the facility is, and it's intense. So we were there to capture the trade partner. Another term for that is subcontractor, but trying to break the thing of saying sub, because nobody's a sub to anybody. I mean, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation, but we typically call them trade partners instead of subcontractors. So this trade partner that we were working for hired us to come grab some footage. And when we show up on site, normally it's myself, the photographer, because we were hired to do video and photo. And usually the details are what we were given from the producer, are kind of high level, not really in the weeds of the details, but we were there for specifically to capture what we needed to capture in our scope of the project. A lot of times the communication from the trade partner to the general contractor, from the general contractor to the owner, is a whole nother it's a whole nother ball game. And a lot of times the information isn't processed across the board where everybody's on the same page. And that's what we ran into. So we were there Friday, ran into some issues when we were approached by safety of the owner. Their safety team came out and said, hey, do you have permission to be on site? I see you running around with cameras. Are you in the appropriate safety attire? And have you been through our safety meeting, I say. And normally, we were there at 8:30. We were told by our producers, show up at 8:30, get what we need to get, and get out of Dodge type thing. And all the other things should have already been communicated. We have permission to be on site. But then the owner's like, you haven't gone through our safety protocol meeting. We didn't know you were going to be on site. This is a federally funded project. You can't just be running around with cameras and stuff like that capturing because it's sensitive and that whole gamut. And then the general contractor is like, yeah, we knew you were coming, but we didn't know what the whole scope of everything. We communicated it, but obviously their team didn't know. So anyway, so we had to kind of hang out for like an hour and a half waiting to see if we had permission to be on site and permission to do our job, which is fine. We want to make sure that we do everything according to the book because that's just the way that we operate. We follow the rules. We make sure that we had all our safety gear. I've been on hundreds of sites and I'm OSHA certified and I have all the appropriate attire on: safety, glasses, vest, hard hat, gloves. The only particular thing about this site is you needed a strap on your hard hat, which is interesting because the hard hats that you typically get, and I got a specialized hard hat because I wanted to make sure it's comfortable. I'm going to be in this thing for long periods of time. So I ordered a specific hard hat. But I have two hard hats. I have the traditional, mine's actually a carbon fiber type hard hat that I ordered. But then I also got what you consider it looks like a rock climbing hard hat. It's a helmet style hard hat, and it has straps. And it's the newer style hard hats that the industry is kind of transitioning to. But my carbon fiber hard hat does not have straps. So one of the rules on this site was you had to have a strap on your hard hat. Well, we didn't have. I wasn't wearing my helmet style hard hat. I was wearing my carbon fiber one. Didn't have straps. And my partner, the photographer James, he didn't have straps either. So that's one ding against us. So they make these attachments, straps that you can put on your hard hat, which the trade partner had a plethora of them, and he gave us a set to put on our hard hats, and it was all fine. And then we sat around and waited for like an hour and a half, and then finally the owner said, hey, you guys got permission, do what you need to do, make sure you follow the appropriate barriers, don't cross these. They have red tape because they had a 135-ton crane on site lifting giant structural stuff. And they were building across the canal. So they're building a bridge basically across the canal. And so we said, okay, thank you. We weren't difficult. We were being respectful. We were there, got what we needed. It was a okay day of filming. I did not bring a punch lens with me. I just brought a 24-70, and I had like a 50 and an 85. But for the most part, the red barrier was so far away from where the work was being done, it was kind of a challenge. And the trade partners said we had to stay behind the red barrier, which was a little frustrating because there was no reason for us not to be in there where they were doing the work. We're OSHA certified. We're not going to put ourselves in danger. We're not going to go under equipment. We're going to follow the rules and be safe. But he didn't know us, and he didn't want to take the risk, I guess. So it was a little frustrating that first day. We were there for like 5 hours or so, filming, taking photos. And then we came back the following day, shot for a couple hours. And then we came back the third day. Yo, what's up, man? I know, man, because we were there. You're right, David. We were there at good light, ready to capture. We had, the golden hour type light. We were there waiting. It was a little frustrating, as we were sitting there trying to, missing opportunities, as I like to say, but it all worked out, and it was a little frustrating because we had everything that we needed to do our job, and we were there on time. We were dressed appropriately. It was just the communication between the three other entities that we just weren't part of, or we couldn't facilitate, other than we were told we had permission to be on site. And so we did. We missed out on some good opportunity, with some golden hour shots, especially with the crane work that was happening. It was a lot of fun. But it was a convoluted process, and so we respected it. And then, we did get a lot of solid, good shots the first day, other than being so far away from the work, which is, I like texture. I like getting in there, showing hands on equipment, hands tightening things. They're putting, this crane is, they're craning things up. They're about to fly all this steel and structure. And I wanted to get in there to get them, securing the loads and everything. And that's what I like to do. I like to be where the work's happening, not so far away, but we respected it. I just wish I had a punch lens on me, because we do have I had a 70 to 200 that I could have brought, but I just didn't pack it. And I was so mad at myself, because normally I'm prepared for things like that, and I make adjustments on the fly, but unfortunately I didn't grab that lens. But we came back the second day. I was prepared. I actually got the punch lens. I was able to get tighter shots. So we were there the second day, same thing, they knew we were coming, everything was cool. We're getting all the shots, we're getting up in there. And then, I talked to the trade partner. I said, hey, is there any way that we can get closer? I understand you want us to be safe and behind the red barrier, but is there any way that we can get specifically in there where the work's happening? Because we're kind of blocked by the giant crane and where they were positioning, where they were flying the steel. So it was a little rough to get solid shots without being a little bit closer. And he's like, we trust you guys, so if you guys want to get closer, just let us know, and we'll have somebody accompanying you that can kind of stay with you and make sure that you're safe. And I've been on multiple of sites where they're flying palm trees, they're flying things up 14 stories. I've been on some heavy, intensive, sites before, and this was not anything like that. There was wide open spaces. To me, it wasn't that intensive, but I respected it. So, but we did talk to him about getting closer. Unfortunately, it was after the second day ended. But I had the punch lens with me, so I was able to get some really tight, detailed shots and get close-up shots and, to be able to tell the story. And then, unfortunately, we weren't allowed to drone because we were right next to an airport. We didn't have permission. and we didn't have time to get permission, so unfortunately we weren't able to get any aerials, which would have been way cooler to have some of those aerial shots. But yeah, that's the communication piece that I wish we were told beforehand, but sometimes we don't get the information in a timely manner to where we can make appropriate, adjustments and, work with the FAA to get special permission to fly in those, in those areas, which you can. We just need time to do it, and we just didn't have time. So, but second day went good. Got some close-up shots with the punch lens, got some really cool shots. And then we were coming back the third day, and this is where it gets fun. We show up, and, we show up on time like we're supposed to be. Me and the photographer, we got all our rigs, we're rigged out, we got our safety stuff, we're walking on site. We parked in the parking lot, we're walking on site. And then one of the owner people stopped us and said, "Hey, you don't have permission to be here." And I'm like, okay, we're doing this again. And we're like, yeah, we got permission. This is our third day. Like, we've already been here 2 days. Like, what's going on? Like, we weren't told we didn't have permission. We were told we do have permission from the owner. Even the owner's safety had it verified. Like, yeah. And he goes, no, I see you walking around with cameras and you don't have the appropriate safety gear on. And here's the thing. I rock some Red Wing boots. These things are very comfortable. They don't look like a boot. I mean, they are a boot, but they're kind of stylish. They're like a very lightweight, so I can move fast. I'm going up ladders. I'm in these boots all day. Even construction workers, assuming they're in their boots all day too, but I'm hauling loads up ladders, like I'm carrying a camera, like I want to be comfortable and have a comfortable boot on. So I have these specific Red Wings that were pretty expensive, but they are safety across the board. They're certified safety boots. They're safety toed, the whole gamut. And no joke, on every single site that I go on, somebody makes a comment about my boot. Those aren't appropriate. And I'm like, they're boots, they cover my ankle, they're safety toed, they've been verified safety boots, they're Red Wings. And they're like, they are? And I'm like, yeah. And I go to the extent of just slamming something on my steel toe just to prove that they are solid boots. Like, they're fine. And, but I'm always getting shit for them. And they did that to us on the site multiple times. I've got stopped like multiple times. And that's what this owner guy did to us. Like, you don't even have the appropriate gear on. And I was like, we got gloves, we got our glasses, we got our straps, we got our vests, we got our hard hat, we got safety toes. Like, we are fine. And, and I know he's just doing his job, but he's like, well, we can't have you on site. And this is a federally funded project. And then we kind of just ignored the guy and kept walking. Like, I never seen the guy before. I didn't know what he was barking at us for. So we kind of just ignored him in a roundabout way and went directly to find our point of contact. Connected with him. I was like, are we good? He's like, yeah, you guys are good. Just, if you want to come into the red taped barrier, just make sure you let one of us know. We'll get you in closer. Blah, blah, blah. Go do your thing. We got to get back to work because we're behind schedule. It's like, cool. And then, then 2 more people stopped us. You can't be on site. And I'm like, what is going? Like, finally, I was like, okay, let's put a stop to this. I'm tired of getting stopped from doing my job. And I was like, and this time it was from the general contractor. And then I was like, we need to get all the players involved to make sure that we have permission to be here. So I was like, whatever you need to do to get the right people over here to talk to us, because I'm not leaving the site until I'm told specifically that, from whoever, that we can't be here because I don't want it to be one of these things where we had permission, but then we left and then we missed out on opportunity to get some killer shots and finish the wrap up of the project. And then, then they got the big dogs involved, and then a couple other people came by who were from the general contractor, and they said, they just discussed it over the last couple days and decided that since this is a federally funded project and you're taking video, you're taking photographs, like, we don't approve of this. And I'm like, this is the third day, like, what's going on? Like, come on. They're like, that's all we're gonna say. Sorry about the confusion, but you need to leave the site. And so we got booted from the site, basically. Told us to pack up our gear and head out, which was a little frustrating because I don't think we got enough to tell the story, because that third day we were gonna mic up one of the soups and have him kind of walk us through the project to get that voiceover to tell the story of what it was specifically that they were building and the whole, project process. And unfortunately, we didn't get that. So we're gonna have to find another creative way to get that. And because I think it's fallen short, because I did the edit on Friday and I just think it's a little short of detail. And we want to go back and get the overall finished project once they're done. But it was a little frustrating. So yeah, we were asked to leave. So we got kicked out of the site, which was fine. Like I said, we want to make sure that we follow the rules and we don't, go down any paths where we're the village asshole, like being confrontational or anything like that. We're going to respect the boundaries of both the owner, the general contractor, even our trade partner. But the thing is, like, the trade partner who we were working for said nothing to us as about us not being, I don't know if it's one of those things where they're like, ask for forgiveness versus permission, but I think from their perspective, they thought we were fully fine to be on site. So somewhere along the lines, communication was not conveyed appropriately, and it started that way in the very beginning. So unfortunately, and it sucks because we still got to bill our client for the work, and it's like one of these things is like, who's responsible for that? Is it the owner who should have already had that conveyed? Is it the general contractor, or is it our specific client that has to eat that? I don't know how all that works, but yeah, it was a little frustrating. So and it was a 30-minute drive from where we work. So, you got to account for drive time, gear prep. We were there for about 15, 20 minutes, and then another, packing up gear and then driving back. So it's like, there's still almost 2 hours of work that we still have to bill for it. And it's like, yeah. Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, it's federally funded. That means my tax dollars are going to build this thing. And it was for the headquarters of this company that, without, giving too much details, because they're very adamant that we don't post anything, we don't share the footage, we don't share the images. Like, that was the final thing that they told us before we left, was like, you have no permission to share the video, share the footage, do anything without us seeing it first and approving it. And that came directly from the owner, because they had to approve it before we even gave it to the client. And I'm like, you're not even our client. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're going to give it to our client, and it's up to them to make sure that they share that, because I don't know you from Adam, and I'm not sharing anything with you. You can get it from the actual client who paid us, who hired us to do the work. And if you need that, then you have to work with the trade partner, versus I'm not sharing anything with you guys. I've been in those situations multiple times, not even in the construction industry. I've been hired to go into prisons and film in prisons, and that's a whole nother weird thing that you have to get involved with. You have to get all this paperwork filled out, all that. And I legitimately was in a prison filming where I had permission, did all the appropriate stuff, and then a correctional officer came over to me and was like, I need to see your footage right now. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. You're not my client. I'm sorry. He's like, I need to see it, and if I don't like what I see, you need to delete it. I'm like, and for those that know me, I don't delete footage. It's just not what I do. I'm not going to delete anything. I had permission to be where I was. I did the appropriate paperwork. You weren't the client that hired me. I get that you have a job to do and protections to, oversee. But I was told, and it was relayed to me by the powers that be, that I can film in this area. I wasn't going into specific areas that I wasn't allowed to go into. And so I was like, no, I'm not deleting anything. I'm sorry. And kind of got a little huffy with me, and I think I pissed him off. But I shared the footage with him. He's like, I don't think this is appropriate, so I think you need to delete this part and this part. I was like, well, that needs to be communicated up the chain of command, I should say, because I'm not deleting anything. I'm going to tell you that right now. So you're going to have to figure something out, because I don't delete footage. But that's just my own personal thing. It's just, yeah. But yeah, I think we had enough to tell part of the story, David. I think we had enough. We had the first day, the second day, and I think we had enough to tell a majority of it, just the ending part, and then a nice little VO would have been nice to accompany but we'll figure that out. I think it falls a little short. So I did a V1 edit, first version, and I think we're going to send that to the client and then see what they say from there and tell them the limitations that we ran into on why we couldn't, tell the whole story. But we'll see how that all turns out. Fun stuff, super fun stuff. But yeah, and I've been asked to leave sites before, which is understandable, and I respect it. I'm not gonna, as long as the client who hires us is also involved in the conversations, so everybody's on the same page. Like, we're leaving, because what I don't want to happen is the client come back to us and be like, what's going on? Like, we hired you, blah, blah, blah type thing, and turns into this whole, we're not going to get paid now type thing, and we can't have that happen. So dude, that is a good idea. I didn't even think of that. That's actually really smart. Thanks for that insight, man. Because we do have 11 labs. We pay for a subscription through it. We've used it for other stuff. So yeah, that's actually a good idea. Man, I don't know why we didn't even think of that, but that's perfect. Yeah, we can write out the script and tell the story of what it was, and then use 11 labs to help do the VO. That's brilliant. Yeah, I'm gonna tell the team about that. I'm gonna let the team know you helped me out, man. I don't want to take credit for something I didn't think of, but yeah. Yeah, Joe, man, the wife is gone doing her sourcing thing, and the kids are at their grandma's. My son's last day of spring break, so he's hanging out with my in-laws. He's hanging out with Grams and Gramps. They're making cookies and going swimming, so I think my wife might be home now. But yeah, and the wife's out doing her sourcing business, so decided to hop on a little early. But the house is in desperate need to be cleaned up, which I should probably be doing that instead of going live, but I wanted to go live early, so this is where we're at. Another one of those things, ask for forgiveness versus permission. Yep. And so the other thing that I want to talk about is I've been in this weird rabbit hole of listening to certain doctors and podcasts. And I wouldn't necessarily consider these conspiracy theory type podcasts, but they definitely piqued my interest about the whole COVID-19, the pandemic. And as like a lot of people I know, they call it the planned-demic. But, oh, the kids are home too. So maybe everybody's back. So yeah, I'm. Whoa! What are you doing? I thought you were at Graham and Gramps. Ah, I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, Daddy's gonna finish his live, and I'll hop off here. I didn't know you guys are coming back so early.
What are you doing?
I'm talking to the people.
Come on, Grandma. Go to bed. No.
You gotta go take a nap. Oh, it's okay. Aw. When you wake up, maybe we'll go to the park or something.
Let me see when you wake up.
Whoa, Minnie C. All right. Oh, I'm still sweating from my run. I did an hour-long run probably about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, and it was rough. But let me get back on what I was going to talk about. So I've been listening to these doctors and everything talk about COVID-19 and how there's this whole thing about how it was actually facilitated and planned to release the COVID-19 virus out there. And then and they didn't, because it's big business to have a virus, but then also be involved in the treatment of this virus with a vaccine of sorts. So super interesting. I don't want to get all political on here or anything, but definitely piqued my interest to sit here and listen to these doctors. One of the doctors was like the leading, guy and talking about, how, the Gates Foundation and all this stuff is like interweaved into what was going on. So super interesting. So I'm like in investigation mode because I want to sit here and and I want to sit there and make sure I do my due diligence to actually get the information, not just be fed the information, but actually do my own kind of. Dude, what you got going on there? I know, but let Daddy finish his life. You need to go clean up your fort and stuff. You said you were going to clean it up.
Yeah, but I'm getting with it still.
Well, then go play with it. Daddy will finish this up. All right? I didn't know you guys were coming back so early. Yes. All right. This is real life happening right in front of us. Kids are back. They want dad time, so I'm going to hurry and finish this up. So I might cut this a little short. So yeah, I'm heavily involved in doing my own research to figure this thing out. Maybe I won't figure it out, but just inform myself of this because they say that there is another one, like Disease X. There's another thing coming, and we need to be prepared. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know what's going on in the world, and especially in that world where you have the ultra rich making decisions because they have the money to kind of formulate the narrative and figure out like, well, we're going to do this. And since we have the cure to whatever this is that we're putting out there, that puts that person in a very powerful position. And it's super interesting to me. So anyway, more to come on that. I have more to talk about with it, but I'm running a little, I got to get out of here pretty soon. So, yeah, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, I was going to talk about my running, but it's going. It's been rough this past week. I started back on Monday. It's been a little rough. I don't know if my body's fully healed yet, but yeah, it was a rough one on Monday. Definitely Tuesday was a little rough. And here, bud, are you trying to get this?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. All right.
I'm trying to use that one and that one because you're using the hot one back there, I think.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's my coach has been very supportive. My coach is like helping me walk through it and get me, you know, basically in a place where I'm not overdoing it. So this week he kind of said, let's just do like shake off runs, just get your body used to getting back out there. The frustrating piece of it is like before I got sick, I felt like I was making really good strides, you know, with my running. Like I got my heart rate a little bit lower. I was able to up my speed and output. And so I was feeling really confident in my abilities before I got sick. And then now it feels like I'm starting over in a sense. I'm not really, but like today, it's, you know, it was 90 degrees out. This boy does not do well in heat. Like I'm from Alaska, like running in the heat is rough. And I'm living in the desert now, so I got to get used to it. But I didn't prepare, you know, I didn't hydrate well enough before I went on my run this morning. I didn't bring a lot to replenish what I was losing. So there was an issue. Plus I'm coming off being sick and it was 90 degrees out when I went and ran. I had aspirations to run a sub 90-minute mile for the hour that I was supposed to be out there running. And unfortunately, I think I, you know, ran a 9:30 overall or somewhere around there. It was, you know, by the end of it, you know, I think 55 minutes in, I tanked. Like I could barely even lift my legs to even hold a steady pace. Like I just started like shuffling my feet. I probably could have walked faster than I was actually running, but got it done, which is the important piece. And like my coach tells me, you're not going to have, you know, most perfect conditions, running solid, your body's feeling great. You're not going to have a lot of those. Like you're going to have hard times, and it's how you persevere through those difficult challenges still counts. So try to keep that in mind when I get a little discouraged that I wasn't able to maintain the pace that I wanted to, and I was kind of fell a little short, but still got it done. It was a little rough, but I'm still trying to heal. People think that I healed faster with the pneumonia than most people do. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was back at it after a week and a half, so maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know, but I'm feeling okay. So next week I think I'm going to be way more solid, so looking forward to it, to get back to where I was before I tanked. So all right, let's do a quick, because the whole purpose of the live is to go into the back end of my YouTube. So I'm going to do that really fast. Had some more to talk about, but we're going to cut it a little short here. So I am going to pull up YouTube and then minimize this. We'll go here, 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 and then we'll blow this up, and we'll just do a quick YouTube. Go into YouTube Studio, boom. And then we'll go into some analytics. I'm at 902 for subscribers. That is awesome. So awesome. Channel's not doing so great, but that's okay. The channel's doing what the channel's doing based on the input and output that I'm giving YouTube at the moment. So let's dive into the analytics. So What I like to do is break my analytics down week by week. So in order for me to do that, I have to go in here and customize the view. So I do it for today. This is this week, this past week. And then I like to compare it to the previous week. So I hit apply. I mean, better than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. I wasn't anticipating that. But I got 32K views this week, 38 watch hours, and 1 new subscriber, which I think I just got that 1 new subscriber today, if I'm going to be honest, because I think I was at 901 yesterday, and now I'm at 902, so that's awesome. And then, yeah, and these are the top videos for this week. This one got 1,800 views. Holy cow, that is crazy. All right, again, this video right here has been carrying my channel since I haven't been putting out new content. I do have a video that I'm gonna drop probably Monday or Tuesday. I'm just getting it dialed in. It's the story of my pneumonia, because I did film, because I'm weird like that. I filmed a little bit of the story, and I kind of want to share it. So, yeah, maybe I'll drop that either Monday or Tuesday, and that'll maybe help the channel out a little bit. We'll see. All right, now what I like to do is compare it. So I have to go to advanced mode here, and then add comparison, and then period over period, and then here's what we're looking at. So the previous week, before this past week, I got 1,600 views versus 3,000. So yeah, I mean, 3,000 is typically the average of what I normally do a week. But that's when I was posting a lot. So that's kind of surprising that there's a big uptick like that. And it's just because of that one video that got freaking 1,800 views, which is so nuts. But I'm not complaining. I think it's awesome. That's so cool. But yeah, so here is the views. And I'm just going over the top 3 views, watch hours, subscribers. Now let's go into watch hours. Compare that. So 18 the following week, the previous week, and then 38 this week. So kind of 20 more. That's awesome. Now let's go. I'm moving kind of fast because I'm trying to wrap this up. Subscribers, 1 and 1. So I break even there, which is awesome, which is super awesome. Thank you to all those who subscribe and that are subscribing still and coming along with me on this journey, even though it's slow rolling. Like, I'm gonna start, I'm not gonna make promises I can't keep, but I'm gonna do my best to create content to put on there and to keep the algorithm going, I guess, keep stuff flowing on the content. But I think these lives help too, which is awesome to do these lives. I enjoy the lives, connecting with all of you guys. If you're dropping stuff in the chat right now, sorry I can't see the chat, and I will respond to it after I'm done with this, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up. All right, and then what I like to look at after that is I'll end the comparison, and then I'll geek out on some other stuff. Oh, no, I want to still go in here and then look at some other stuff I like to geek out on, like geography. So, wow, we got, whoa, India took the top spot. That's awesome. Go India. Man, beat out the United States by 10. That's cool. India sneaked into the top spot with 335 views. And then we got Indonesia, Brazil, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Italy, and all down the line. This is new. Man, I don't know, Burma? That's so cool. I don't even know. That's so cool. I'll have to do my research on Myanmar, Burma. I'll have to check that out. That's new. That's cool. We got Germany and Pakistan. So cool. Got something to look up. I'm excited about that. Now we'll go into viewer age. Decent spectrum here. 18 and 24-year-old and 55 to 64. And then let's go to your gender. Wow, that's up higher than normal. 28% female viewership, 71% male viewership. And then let's go device type, always mobile phone. And then let's see who's the top operating system. Android by a long shot. iOS is not even close. I think iOS is out of the game for a while now, unless something big happens. I don't know. That's so cool. So appreciate all the Android users that are viewing my content. So super awesome. All right, and then after that, that's basically everything that I look at. And then what I like to do is just see the top content. Like I said, like these 4 videos right here are always carrying the channel because they're just growing up. Like if you were to look at the graph, you can see like it's just steadily climbing. It's got 6,800 views on that one. This one's got 44,000 views and it's still going up, which is crazy. I should stop saying that. It's awesome. It's not crazy. It's awesome. I'm appreciative, and it's carrying my channel. It's helping my algorithm. So that's so cool. And then we got this one's just like a different kind of climb up, which is kind of fun. This mouse or trackpad video, which I still get. I think that's my most commented video that people leave the most comments on is this video. People telling me what they use, which I find super fascinating. And then, yeah, so, all right. That's pretty much everything that I look at. Wanted to give some more context to the whole COVID thing, but it just, since the fam's back, I'm gonna end this thing a little early. Appreciate you. Let me get out of here and then pull back up, see if anybody dropped anything in the chat. What's up, Ronald? Hey, appreciate you catching it. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. I'm glad you're able to catch it a little live. And unfortunately, I got to get off here because the fam's back, and I'm going to go spend time with the family and get cleaned up here. So, yeah. So for those that are watching this later, appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.